to the seniors and adults living with disabilities here in San Francisco. This is our center. It's our beautiful mural. Embrace it, enjoy it, take tons of pictures, and really thankful for the funding that we received to be able to do the work that we do to improve the quality of life of our seniors and our adults living with disabilities. Also, wanting to welcome a woman who I've seen on television and I've never seen her in person. So I am starstruck. I'm a little nervous. But what I do know is that she has inspired me, and the women that I've grown up with inspired my daughter, who's 14, because she is a woman. We nicknamed you Nancy Get Results Pelosi. So it's been 34 plus years in which you have provided for our San Franciscans, and we appreciate you and all that you do. She doesn't need much introduction, but she is a woman who's a fearless leader, a mother, a grandmother, and a representative for all of us. Please give a warm welcome and round of applause to Nancy Get Results Pelosi.
Daughter. Thank you very much, Renisha. I love that name because we're all about results. We're all about results, and that's what we're here to celebrate today. Thank you, Denisha, for your leadership of the Rosa Parks Senior Center. Rosa Parks was such a leader, so courageous, and so the one to do the job. And this is what she fought for. This is what she fought for. So wonderful, and representing the beautiful diversity of our community as well. Thank you for your leadership, for your kind words, and my best regards to your daughter. It's all about the future. It's all about her. I'm happy to be here with Kathy Davis. Now, we have just met, but Kathy and I have been friends for decades. Where's Kathy Davis? There she is, right in front of me. Kathy Davis, thank you. I'll introduce Kathy in a moment, but it's always wonderful to see her. I'm always inspired by her work. She and her husband George were my friends for decades, and I always drew strength and actually nourishment from their hospitality as they met the needs of so many of our seniors in the community. I'm happy to be here with Cindy Kaufman, the Deputy Director of the San Francisco Department of Aging and Adult Services. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, without the mask now. And a real celebrity for us is Sasha Bittner. Sasha is President of the Board of Directors of San Francisco In-Home Supportive Services. She has been, shall we say, a relentless, persistent advocate for persons with disabilities, and we just love her so much, and it's an honor for us to have you here. But our real celebrity today, and I'm sure Sasha and others will agree, is Stephanie Hughes. She's a Bayview Senior Service attendee. Okay, let's hear it. Thank you, because you are what this is all about, and your message is the one we've all come to hear as we salute this day, the 87th birthday of Social Security. Again, it's appropriate at the Rosa Parks Senior Center, which is a model of strengthening community bonds, as we see, empowering our city seniors, as we know, and lifting up their voices. And what a privilege it is to observe our day of action, our Social Security Day of Action, part of a national drumbeat of opposition to right-wing attacks on our seniors' initiatives. That is something that we have. Usually we just are here to celebrate Social Security, but as Republicans redouble their attempts to dismantle Social Security, this work has never been more important. 9 decades ago, in the depths of the Depression, half of America's seniors lived in poverty. Half of the seniors lived in poverty. Instead of rest and fulfillment, retirement in their senior years, they had uncertainty and hardship. President Roosevelt passed this legislation, and when he did, he said there's no tragedy in growing old, but there is tragedy in growing old without means of support. And that was what Social Security was designed to do. By signing the Social Security law, he established a pillar a pillar, a strong pillar of financial stability that has stood for generations. Today, it safeguards the well-being of millions, whether retired or living with a disability. In our district alone, as you see on our Social Security card here, more than 109,000 residents receive hard-earned Social Security checks every month, to the tune of over $100 million every month. It's remarkable. Social Security is one of our nation's greatest legislative accomplishments and one of its most widely supported. Yet Republicans want to end Social Security as we know it. Some of you may remember that we had to fight this in 2006 when they wanted to President Bush wanted to privatize Social Security. We won then, and we will win now, because we must. House Republicans are openly fighting to hike the retirement age, slash benefits, and push privatization. Again, I just remind some of you who have been in the fight with us on the Protecting the Affordable Care Act. When they went after the Affordable Care Act to repeal it, at the same time they said, we're doing away with Social Security disability insurance. So they were doing it even then on the Affordable Care Act. One Senate Republican, Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, wants to go even further, putting Social Security on the chopping block every single year he tries to do this, and endangering the financial security of millions of Californians, tens of millions across the country. Make no mistake, Republicans want to turn back the clock to a time of instability and rampant senior poverty. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? They don't believe in governance. They never really supported Social Security. They tried to stop Medicare. Democrats will stop at nothing to stop their dark vision from becoming a reality. Our commitment to Social Security is absolute, unshakable, and non-negotiable. The GOP only cares about its own power. Democrats are putting people over politics. That is why we stood by last week and fought Big Pharma. Imagine, we had a bill on the floor that would enable the Secretary of HHS to negotiate for lower prices for seniors for prescription drugs. Thank you, ARP, for being here. And the Republicans, not one of them voted to support making prescription drugs more affordable for our seniors. For us, it was an historic day because we have been working for decades to be able to unlock the stranglehold that Big Pharma has on Congress when it comes to prescription drugs. And we won that day. Not everything we wanted, but a great big giant step forward for our seniors, for America's working families where this is a kitchen table issue. We also had in that bill language to protect the Affordable Care Act and with subsidies make it more affordable to many more families in our country. But slashing drug costs, we had a victory for the people. That was a stranglehold, and we've loosened it, giving people opportunity to breathe as we fight for more. And that's why across the country today, House Democrats are sitting down with our seniors to say, hands off our Social Security. Hands off our Social Security. That's our motto today. And thank you all for being here for our day of action. We're getting, as I've said to some of you as we were chatting earlier, we can only do so much with our inside maneuvering. The outside mobilization that you are involved in makes all the difference in the world, makes better policy, makes it more long-standing and easier to protect. So I thank all of you, whether it's AARP or any of the organizations, our friends in the labor movement and the rest, who have made the outside mobilization such a success. We always say when they come up with these things, we don't agonize, we organize. And that's what today is about. So it's my pleasure now to introduce a relentless advocate for seniors, a persistent voice for justice, a loving guardian of her late husband George's remarkable legacy, my personal friend, someone I admire so much for her personal integrity. her complete commitment to our seniors in our community, Kathy Davis. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to fight with the motorcycles. All right. Hi, I'm Kathy Davis, and I'm the Executive Director of Bayview Senior Services. And I talk about heroes. There's my hero right there. I even wear matching masks because of you. I tell my staff all the time, I have to be like Nancy Pelosi, come on! So I do everything to try to be like Nancy Pelosi because she is a fighter for seniors and for all of us. And it's kind of annoying that she has to fight for Social Security, for things that we already have. I mean, we have so many other things we have to go after, yet we have to make sure that Social Security is here for Darnisha and her daughter and the next 87 years. We can't just assume we're going to have it, which we all kind of do, right? So it's important to make sure that we are focused on Social Security. So my husband, Dr. Davis, died at the age of 68. He got Social Security for 2.5 years. He didn't even get enough of what he put into it. There are a lot of minority people like him who don't live long enough even now to get the Social Security that they've been paying into their whole life. And the Republicans want to move the age up. Are you kidding me? And then we also have people who we call essential workers. And they're all essential until you have to pay for them. And our essential workers don't put a lot of money into retirement plans. They don't get a whole lot back, and they need Social Security. And sometimes Social Security disability because of the kind of jobs that they're doing. So we need to remember to think about that when we up the age of Social Security. Then we need COLAs. There's going to be a really good cost of living, yay, for Social Security people this year. But guess what? I had a senior tell me she worked for Magnan, and she was a supervisor. She had a really great job. And she made $11 an hour back in the day, and that was good pay. But that's what she's living off now based on the Social Security of the income that she had back then. So what if we don't give people COLAs? They won't have enough money to make it. So we have to remember what people's wages are now and what they're going to be later on. They've got to have some kind of safety net to survive. So I always think about people that work low-wage jobs and people who are essential workers and people who are really counting on Social Security to be part of the safety net. The other thing, I asked a couple seniors, like, well, what do you think of Social Security? And one of the seniors said to me today, we don't want our mamas to cry. They deserve to have a place to live. They deserve some decent pay to be able to pay their rent and eat their food. So if it's not for you, it might be for your parents. It might be for your relative. It might be for the person who took care of you. It might be for that essential worker who worked around you who didn't make the pay that you make. And we always have to think about that when we think about Social Security, about being the safety net and the security for our whole system. I mean, people are not getting the kind of pensions that people need. And this lady also told me, she said, well, they don't care. They got plenty of money. But we have to think about everybody in America. And Social Security is just that. It is our foundation. So I just want to thank the speaker for standing up once again. She stands up for everything. I mean, everything that you need her for. Who's standing at the door making sure it happens? That's our speaker. So we're really proud that you came out today to Rosa Parks, to our neck of the woods. And we're also proud of the funding that we do receive for this center, and it's from the Department of Disability and Aging. I have the honor to introduce Cindy Kaufman, who is my partner in crime. We were adult day health directors back in the day, and she's still fighting the fight for people. We always need people at City Hall who understand what the community does. That's Cindy. She still brings that spirit to the work that she does at City Hall. So we're really proud to have her here today, and thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Kathy. I didn't even have to pay you for that. So, my name is Cindy Kaufman. I am the Deputy Director of Community Services with the Department of Disability and Aging Services. And I'm really honored to be here today with Speaker Pelosi and Kathy, Commissioner Bittner, and all of you who obviously care so profoundly about this benefit. A heartfelt thank you goes out to you, Speaker Pelosi, for truly taking on this fight and never letting your guard down and doing it for everybody who is here and more. Many in our city struggle to make ends meet. Social Security is that absolute bedrock of the benefits that they rely on. These individuals have worked their entire lives and put into this benefit so that they can retire, or if they develop a disability, they can get benefits. This is not what 401ks and markets do, stock markets do. They ebb and flow, which has destroyed many people's retirement funds, but not Social Security. Without it, this city would look very different. It is the foundation of benefits to offer so that we may offer additional safety net benefits on top of it, because it takes all of that in order to make ends meet. Specifically, our department offers supportive programs, services for older adults, veterans, caregivers, adults with disabilities, and we do this by partnering with amazing community-based organizations like Bayview Senior Centers, because these organizations are a part of the community. They know what the community needs. We hear from you in order to try and support what that community needs. And to highlight this, I've got a very short story, but I think it speaks to partnerships and the need for Social Security benefit. A few years ago, Ms. T called the department's Benefits and Resource Hub. And what we do in the hub is we try and link people to the services that they need. She was struggling. She did not know what to do. She had had a stroke a few years before. She'd been through all the physical and occupational therapies and had made great gains, but she was not able to return to her previous work. She applied for part-time work, she applied for full-time work, but no one would hire her. Consequently, she'd become unable to pay her rent, she was going to lose her health benefits, and she was going to lose her apartment. She called us because she did not know where else to turn. So a social worker answered the call. They listened to everything she had to say, asked questions, and then linked her to legal services to protect the apartment, case management to help her get Social Security disability. She had applied before, but had been denied. Miss T was having none of it. She's like, this is never gonna work. So, fast forward, with legal and case management, Ms. T was successfully able to get Social Security benefits, both in back pay and ongoing monthly support, and she did not lose her apartment. While she missed working, she had the financial support she needed. Her case manager also took it one step further and got her part-time volunteer work at a community center much like this one. She was able to contribute back to her community. She felt a part of her community. Without Social Security, she would have had no options. She could have been institutionalized. She could have been out on the streets. It helped her stay in her community. So without Social Security, we wouldn't be able to offer the depths of services that we are able, because our focus would be on the basic needs of the folks that we serve. So I will stop there. Like Kathy, I could go on for days. I do know I have a time limit, but it is my pleasure to introduce, I refer to her as Commissioner Bittner because she actually serves on our department's commission. But in addition, as mentioned, she is the president of Public Authority. She's a lifelong community activist for disability and domestic workers' rights. She serves as chair of the Bay Area Regional Advisory Committee on Developmental Disabilities and previously served as chair of the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you Sasha Bittner.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My father,
My father,
Bruce Joseph,
Bruce Joseph,
is interpreting.
is interpreting.
I'm sorry the prisoner,
I'm Sasha Bittner,
as was previously said,
as was previously mentioned,
and I'm a proud constituent
a proud constituent
of Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
of Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a Disability and Aging Services Commissioner and President of the Board of the Public Authority for IHSS. I've been disabled my entire life, and one of the programs administered by the Social Security Administration, Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, has provided a vital safety net. In fact, SSI was first implemented in 1974, the year after my birth. I was born to a poor single teenage mother, and this income meant all the difference in allowing her to keep us housed and fed during a period when supporting me didn't allow her the time or ability for much besides being my caregiver and tireless advocate. Roe v. Wade was decided not long before my mother realized she was pregnant with me. She made the choice to give birth, but that involved a tremendous sacrifice of her own life plans, especially when it became clear I was severely disabled. It's incomprehensible to me that so many of the lawmakers now demanding forced birth are also the first ones to disparage single mothers and the last ones to offer any assistance to those struggling mothers and their children. In fact, they are among those pushing the hardest to dismantle the critical benefits that provide some relief for these families. When signing the Social Security Act in 1935, President Roosevelt said, "We can never ensure 100% of the population against 100% of the hazards and vicissitudes of life, but we have tried to frame a law which will give some measure of protection to the average citizen and to his family against the loss of a job and against poverty-ridden old age." Social Security has done exactly what President Roosevelt promised it would do, with SSI and SSDI expanding that promise to include coverage for people like me and families like mine. And as an adult, I too have benefited from SSDI, since there are still significant barriers to ongoing employment for disabled people. On a related note, last spring I returned to UC Berkeley after more than 20 years to complete my undergraduate degree. The second semester just ended, so as of today, I'm a Cal graduate. And looking for work. That's a good one. I also speak to you today as a Disability and Aging Services Commissioner. Each month, our commission approves innovative projects to enhance the lives of disabled and senior people in San Francisco. It's impossible not to recognize the critical support played by Social Security in affording our constituents the needed financial stability to live active and meaningful lives. And yet, some today are heartlessly attempting to dismantle or otherwise limit these critical benefits. These attempts to decimate vital programs for our most vulnerable citizens are indefensible, and their success would prove catastrophic for so many seniors and people with disabilities, in addition to their families. Thankfully, we have Social Security champions like Speaker Pelosi, who not only want to maintain this crucial safety net, but to strengthen and expand our nation's care infrastructure to provide even more robust support and stability for elderly and disabled people. We must vigorously support these efforts and oppose those who would undermine all that has been achieved. So let's celebrate this important anniversary today, but redouble our efforts to fulfill the promise of President Roosevelt.
And to
ensure
that
these programs
will continue to
protect Americans for generations to come. Please welcome our next speaker, Stephanie Hughes, who has also benefited from SSI and is a frequent participant at Rosa Parks Senior Center. Wait, Sasha.
Hi, greetings. My name is Sister Stephanie Hughes. I'm a resident of Rosa Parks Housing, which sits behind the Senior Center here. And I actually was going to say the almost very exact thing that Cindy was sharing, because she was sharing my story, you know? And I think a lot of us have those similar stories, you know, where we work and then we get to a place where we're unable to work, and then we go down to apply, we get denied, we don't know what to do, then we have to reach out to centers such as the Rosa Parks Senior Center for services. What do we do? You know, how do we get the resources? Because if it had not been for Social Security SSI for me, I had zero income. You know, when I got disabled, I couldn't work. You know, then I had to prove my disability, which took a couple of years. You know, you get a little depressed. You get the fight knocked out of you for a little bit, you know. And it's helpful to have the case managers and the legal services to come right here to be able to help and guide us through these processes to get the income that has been deemed and promised to us by ways of our work or others' work or just the humanity. Now, before I became disabled and as a young girl, I would hear people talk about Social Security and all of these things. And it wasn't an important fight for me because I didn't need it. But it came a time when I needed these services. It came a time when this fight became very important to me. I attend Nancy Pelosi's town hall meetings on the phones. We get them calls. Please do not ignore those calls. They're so informative. Do not ignore the calls. I got my mother to get on those calls, okay? So when I look at my mom, who worked at a hospital all of her life, that's when it really got important to me, when she retired. And however retirement went, I don't know. It's like, Ma, why you ain't got no money? You know? And then so she has to get her SSI to supplement her retirement so that she can go and get some glasses. Or she has to pay to get a tooth. But she can't get a tooth, she has to get a whole, I'm like, but you got all your teeth. But one, you need, you know, and these things are real. These are things that have happened to real people. And it became real to me, not just watching my mom, but with myself, with my very own disability, with my inability to move the way that I want to move. See, at one point you would see me downtown all over the place. I'm a volunteer of a whole San Francisco, the Bay Area, but I can't move like I used to move. And without my income, my SSI, I wouldn't be able to move at all. I'd be homeless in the streets again, you know? And so for Kathy Davis services that they provide at this center, they are so valuable to help us to navigate and to understand and to learn of the resources that are available to us and how to access them. This center I'm here, man, before the pandemic, we were doing all kind of stuff, you know. When I first got here with no money, I'm able to eat every day out of this center. Before my Social Security even kicked in, this is where I was eating at every day. I was coming over here getting the bread, the vegetable bags, and all of that stuff. I still do, because that resource is still needed for me. You know, I'll be glad when we get our raise. But, you know, because the truth of the matter is, you know, things keep going up. Inflation didn't stop, you know, it didn't stop. But my graciousness goes to centers such as these, people such as Kathy Davis, Darnisha, you know, Sister Nancy, who provide, I'm sorry, I call everybody sister, and brother. You know, some people say, oh, she calls you sister and brother because she forgot your name. In some cases, that may even be true. But But, you know, when I'm sitting depressed, you know, and I come to the center and ask some of my neighbors to come down to do art or just sit up and eat popcorn, you know, just so I can help to try to process some of the things that's going on around me in this world that is trying to take away my livelihood. Basically, my livelihood. Because I need to get on the bus, you know. The things that I cannot do, you know, in-home support services. Amazing I didn't even know about these things. I'm like, oh my God. I had an in-home support person and someone was saying, well, you know, they get this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't even know that my person, my care provider could get paid to provide the care that they were paying, that they were taking care of me. I had no idea till I got to over here, the Rosa Parks Senior Center. There's so many things that we need to stand up for, so many resources that we need to fight for. I think about my daughter, because I have children. Something happened to my children. I would want them to be able to get some of the services that they put into. I would want my children to work and be able to eat, to pay the rent. That's all, you know. I'm grateful. That's the only thing that I know to say. And there's a lot of folks in here, trust me, about that medical issue. There's a lot of folks in here that we have to help to pay some time to get their medication because the medication is so high. Yeah. You know, and if you're getting SSI, the resources, supplemental resources, additional resources, the services that we can get from the centers that would tell us who and where we can go to help us so that we can live just a simple life. It's just a simple life. Just a simple and happy and healthy life. Thank you.
I'll just go here with Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. As you can tell from listening to Stephanie and Sasha's stories, as Commissioner Kaufman and Kathy will agree, there's nothing as compelling as the personal stories, to have the clarity in the story you told as well, Commissioner, the personal stories that people have. So it is about having navigators, having those who can give you guidance as to how to avail yourself of what you have paid into. Remember this. This is a Social Security people have paid into. It is their benefit, and we do not want it taken away from them or diminished. So as we celebrate, imagine the courage it took for the President Roosevelt at the time of the Great Depression, to say, this is our priority for the people, for the poor people, and it is for the general welfare of our country, which we promise in our Constitution. And so now we're going to cut the cake. We're going to cut the cake so that we can celebrate this birthday, as well as to say that we are, as we cut the cake and celebrate the birthday, we're going to make sure that the Republicans keep their hands off our Social Security. Yes. We must protect it for Stephanie, for Sasha, for so many people in our community. And as I talked about Kathy, I was reminded that when for her, the senior center that she and George Davis have been so much a part of, we were able, that was part of the Alice Griffith Housing Initiative, which we got $30 million under President Obama for that project. So housing, food, Social Security, health care, prescription drug benefits, all of it comes together to respect the dignity and worth of every person in our community. And that Stephanie and Sasha are giving back is something quite remarkable. They are a true sense of community. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Commissioner. And thank you, Denisha. And let's get around here and cut this cake.